If you have reached this prayer, it is because something very deep in your heart is crying out for help. Perhaps there is a request you have already made many times. Perhaps it is a situation that has been silently consuming you, a pain, an anguish, a weight that has grown too heavy to carry alone. Today, through this prayer, we place ourselves under the powerful intercession of Saint Michael the Archangel. We ask him to present before heaven this grace so necessary, so longed for, so urgent, because we know when Saint Michael enters our lives, something always changes, not by the force of our own words, but by the faithfulness of God and by the help of his saints. Here, in this prayer channel of faith, we pray with trust, with respect, and with our hearts wide open to the action of God. We do not seek miracles out of vanity or out of impatience, but because we truly believe that the Lord listens to the sincere cry of those who suffer, and that he sends his angels precisely when we need them most. For this reason, Saint Michael, I place myself before you today with humility. I bring with me a request that weighs upon my soul, a necessity that can no longer be postponed, a cause that requires intervention from above. You who know the battles we fight within the soul and within everyday life, receive this plea and present it before God. I do not ask because of despair. I ask because I trust. I ask because even amid pain, I still believe that there is a light, and even without knowing the day or the hour, I believe that the help of heaven will come. When prayer is made with true faith, and a heart purified before the Lord, he never leaves us abandoned. He listens even to the whisper of the broken-hearted, and he moves the heavens in his own time. So, Saint Michael, look upon this prayer, lift it to the Most High, and surround it with the wings of your protection. May this be a prayer that rises as incense, gentle yet steadfast before the throne of God. Let our voices be united with those of the angels, singing the faithfulness of the Lord. Let no doubt silence the cry of the soul, and let no fear block the light that comes from heaven. For where faith stands firm, hope begins to bloom again. O Lord, stay near to us. Strengthen our hearts, renew our courage, and through the intercession of Saint Michael the Archangel, may the grace we seek begin its journey toward us, the grace so necessary, so deseada, and so urgent. Saint Michael, Prince of the heavenly hosts, defender of the people of God, intercede for me. Present before the Most High, this grace that I so deeply need. Be my protector in this hour of affliction. Guard my heart so that I do not lose myself in fear, in rebellion, or in doubt. Teach me to remain steadfast, even when everything seems dark. Visit, with your holy presence, my home, my work, and my family. Pass through places where I cannot go. Open the paths where doors are closed. Illuminate the decisions that are difficult to make. Strengthen those who have become weak. Be a presence of order, of peace, and of discernment amid confusion. Saint Michael, if something within me prevents this grace from being received, show me what needs to be purified in my intention. Guide me. If this grace I ask for is not yet within God's time, grant me patience to wait. But if it is possible, and if it is in accord with the divine will, help me to receive it without delay, because the human heart at times can no longer bear the weight. There are situations that cry for urgency, and today I ask you, Saint Michael, come to my aid. With your shield, protect me. With your sword, defend me. With your steadfast gaze, drive away all evil. Guide me so that I do not lose myself in despair. You who are called by the Church, the great defender, hear this cry. Walk with me in this journey of faith, and do not allow me to drift away from the light. If this grace is just and holy, may it be granted, with the generosity that only God possesses. And if today my eyes can see nothing, may my heart at least feel peace, the peace of knowing that I have been heard, that my prayer has not been lost in the air, but has been carried to the throne of mercy. By your holy and faithful hands, let every doubt now fall away. Let every fear be dissolved, and may the hope of this prayer remain alive in my soul. O Lord, stay near to those who wait for you. Give us faith that endures. Let your light reach us swiftly. Right with faith, Saint Michael, I am in need of an urgent grace. Saint Michael the Archangel, with all reverence and faith, I continue this prayer, because I trust that the grace I ask for is not far from the gaze of God. I know that at times, the path becomes confusing, the days repeat themselves without an answer, and the heart grows weary. But today, even through tears and uncertainty, I choose to continue. I choose to trust. I choose to wait in you. At this hour, Saint Michael, once again I plead with you. Enter this situation with your strength that comes from heaven, for there are things that have already escaped my control. I have done everything within my reach. I have spoken. I have tried. I have waited. And now, recognizing my limits, I surrender what remains into your hands. You who are the guardian of the children of God, you know the depths of the human soul. You know how necessary a grace can be, not only to change the world outside, but to heal what is wounded within. This grace that I ask of you is not luxury, is not whim, is not born from pride or vanity. It is a true necessity of the soul. It is something I have carried for so long, that I can no longer separate it from my pain. Saint Michael, defender of truth and justice, pray for me. If this grace depends on the conversion of hearts, touch those who need to be touched. If it depends on forgiveness, on reconciliation, on humility, prepare the ground. If it depends only on the action of God, present this request. As one who knows the urgency of a suffering child, visit also, Saint Michael, the thoughts that torment me, because even while praying, I often feel suffocated by doubts, by fears, by images of everything that could go wrong. Remove from my path all that does not come from God. Quiet my mind, strengthen my inner being. May I continue to wait, without falling into despair. May faith sustain me. When strength begins to fade, may peace dwell where anxiety once lived. O Lord, stay near to us in our frailty. Let your light reign within our waiting hearts. And through the hands of Saint Michael, may this grace, so long desired, draw closer with each prayer whispered in faith. Saint Michael, defender of truth and justice, stand before the Lord and plead for me. If this grace depends on the conversion of hearts, touch those who must be touched. If it depends on forgiveness, on reconciliation, on humility, prepare the ground where such change must take root. If it depends only on the action of God, then present this request as one who knows the urgency of a suffering child. Visit also, Saint Michael, the thoughts that torment my soul. For many times, even while praying, I feel suffocated by doubts and fears, haunted by images of what could go wrong. Remove from my path all that does not come from God. Silence the noise that confuses the heart. Dispel the shadows that whisper discouragement. Let faith speak louder than fear, and hope stand taller than despair. Calm my mind, O Lord, and strengthen my interior life. Let peace reign where anxiety has ruled. May courage be reborn where weakness took hold. May my soul continue to wait, not in desperation, but in surrender, trusting that every moment of waiting is already a hidden movement of grace. If this grace I ask for involves other people, someone in my family, a son, a husband, a mother, or a friend, may all these lives also be visited by your protective presence, Saint Michael. Let the light of truth appear where there is confusion. Let the love of God triumph over pride. Let forgiveness melt the walls that divide us. Saint Michael, let healing enter wherever wounds remain open. Let compassion rise where resentment once lived. Let divine mercy move through the spaces that human understanding cannot reach. Be near to those who carry sorrow in silence. Be comfort to those whose hearts are heavy. Teach us to recognize that heaven is working, even when the world appears still. O faithful guardian, stay by our side through this purification. If the soul must be refined in waiting, let that refining bring peace, not bitterness. If pain must remain for a while longer, let it serve as offering, not despair. For the Lord purifies what He loves, and through His light, every wound will find its rest. O Lord, let Your mercy pass through our homes, our families, and our thoughts. Let the grace we await be shaped by Your will, and let our hearts be ready to receive it in peace. Saint Michael, defend my cause as one who defends what is just and pure. You who were faithful even in the face of the rebellion of angels, remain now beside me, unwavering and steadfast. You who once cried, "Who is like God?" teach me to echo those same words in my struggle, that I may not bow before fear, nor bend before falsehood, nor surrender to pain or confusion. Let me wait with faith, even when nothing seems to change. If this request that I place into Your holy hands must still pass through the long corridors of time, teach me to transform the waiting into prayer. Let the silence of heaven not turn my heart cold, but awaken in me a deeper love for God. Let me not distance myself from grace, nor lose myself within discouragement. Let this waiting draw me closer to the Lord, and teach me to depend not on men, but on the will that comes from above. If this grace I seek touches the sustenance of my home, the daily bread that feeds the family, the safety of those I love, then I entrust everything to You, Saint Michael, for we know You are sent by God Himself to come to the aid of those who call upon You in faith. There is no greater honor than to witness the movement of heaven, arriving at the exact appointed time. That is why I continue, even with a soul weary and hands empty, I continue to pray, for prayer itself is a form of trust. It is the act of staying before God, even when no visible sign has appeared. Saint Michael, carry this petition to the throne of God. Speak on my behalf where my words cannot reach. Show the Lord the sincerity of my heart's cry, and in His time, not mine, may the grace I so desperately need be revealed. Let it not come from my glory, but so that the name of God may be glorified in my life. Let every tear become testimony, every silence become offering, every waiting hour become worship. If this miracle is to come slowly, let patience be my strength. If it must come suddenly, let humility be my response. Saint Michael, faithful warrior of heaven, defender of those who believe, stand guard over my faith when it trembles, over my hope when it fades, and over my soul when it is tempted to give up. Remind me that God never forgets His children, and that no prayer made with faith ever vanishes into the wind. O Lord, stay near to those who wait for You. Let Your mercy sustain us through this season of silence. Let Your grace unfold at the right time, so that when it comes, our hearts may rejoice not in the gift itself, but in the One who gave it. Saint Michael the Archangel, Remain with me in this supplication, for my heart is still heavy, and the grace I hope for continues without response. Each passing day seems to stretch the silence. Each unanswered hour deepens the feeling of emptiness. Sometimes it seems as if I stand alone before the battles I must face. Yet when I begin to pray again, when I remember that you are here, when I renew my trust in the action of God through your intercession, I find new breath within my soul. So, Saint Michael, take me by the hand, your spiritual hand, and walk with me through this struggle. You who know the pain of God's children, help me to endure this time of waiting without losing heart. Grant me patience that does not grow cold, hope that does not turn anxious, and faith that does not demand conditions. Teach me to pray, not to demand, but to trust. If the grace I seek has not yet arrived, perhaps it is because something still must mature within me. Perhaps my soul must still learn how to surrender fully into God's hands. Perhaps my eyes are still fixed too closely on the immediate, and cannot yet see what heaven is preparing, with more care than I could ever imagine. Saint Michael, illuminate my understanding. Take from me all restless haste, all temptation to give up, all feelings of defeat. Let me not surrender to weariness, nor isolate myself in pain. Let me continue believing that every prayer made with faith finds its answer in God's time. Help me also to understand that many times the grace I wait for will come in a different way than I planned, and that this difference is not a lack of love. It is a sign of divine wisdom. Let me recognize the miracle, even when it arrives quietly, even when it hides within the ordinary, even when only my heart perceives it. Saint Michael, be my guide through this silence that sanctifies. If the answer delays, let faith not diminish but deepen. If hope flickers, let your light rekindle it within me. And if I must keep walking through the shadowed valley, let my trust in God shine brighter than fear. O Lord, through the intercession of Saint Michael, teach me that waiting is not absence, but preparation. Let every moment of silence become a doorway for your grace. And when the miracle finally arrives, may gratitude rise louder than my request. Saint Michael, visit the places where this grace must act. It may be a hospital filled with tears, a courtroom where justice trembles, a workplace burdened by fear, a table where harsh words were spoken, or even the deepest chamber of a human heart. Go ahead of me, go where I cannot go, speak where I cannot speak, act where my strength can no longer reach, and guard everything with your holy sword. If within me there is any feeling contrary to the grace I await, pride, anger, lack of forgiveness, rigidity of heart, or wounded pride, show me with kindness. Correct me with firmness, but also with mercy. I do not wish to cling to what keeps me from blessing. I wish to be purified, even if it hurts, even if I must confront what I have kept hidden for so long. Saint Michael, strengthen also my life of prayer. Let me not limit myself to this single request. Teach me to become one who prays each day, not only in moments of affliction or urgency. Let my faith not depend on what I receive, but on the love I am willing to give. Help me understand that to pray is, before all else, to be with God, not merely to search for answers. Let my soul rest in His presence, even when silence surrounds me. Transform this pain into an offering. Let my struggle not be in vain, even as I suffer. Let me pray for others who endure the same trials. May the grace I now ask for, when it arrives, also bring comfort to other hearts, because nothing that comes from heaven is meant for us alone. All is gift, all is sharing, All is the sign of communion among those who believe. And while the time of the Lord has not yet been fulfilled, grant me serenity. Let me keep my heart open and my soul at peace. Let perseverance be my strength. Let kindness remain my path. Let humility become my prayer. Saint Michael, hold my intentions within your faithful hands. Purify what must be cleansed. Uplift what has grown weary. Let every breath of waiting become praise that rises toward heaven. O Lord, through this sacred silence, teach us that every pain can be sanctified when it is offered with love. Let hope dwell within our wounds until grace descends in its perfect hour. Saint Michael, help me to persevere in goodness. Let me seek the sacraments with devotion. If confession is needed, let me approach it with humility. Let my heart draw near to the Eucharist, and let my soul remain close to the Church, where your name is invoked, and your faithfulness is honored. You who were faithful in battle, and humble in obedience, teach me to remain firm upon my path, even when I cannot see the end of the road, even when I do not understand every reason. For above all, I believe God knows what He is doing, and you, Saint Michael, are with me. In this journey of faith that I walk beside you, I realize how deeply my soul has been tested. The grace I have long awaited has not yet arrived, but I know that your gaze remains fixed upon me, even when days seem identical, even when everything appears silent. I trust that something is happening in the invisible, in the secret heart of God, where you present my prayer with care and fidelity. Today, once again, I place before you this request that will not leave my thoughts, this urgent grace that I carry in my hands and can no longer hold alone. Saint Michael, I do not seek shortcuts. I do not seek fleeting human solutions. I ask for what is lasting, for what is just, for what is holy. I ask with faith and with reverence for the will of God to be done. If the grace I ask still requires time, help me to walk through my days with balance, for often I find myself wavering, one day filled with faith, another taken by doubt, one day praying with strength, another unable even to gather words. Yet even in my weakness, Saint Michael, do not abandon me. Continue interceding on my behalf, even when I feel fragile. Touch now, with your protective presence, the deepest part of my being. Go to the root of my anguish. Reach the place where hope has begun to fade. If there is any despair in me, remove it. If there is rebellion, heal it. If there is resentment from prayers once unanswered, purify my vision. Let me understand that God never fails to listen. He only acts in the wisest way, though it may be difficult for me to comprehend. Let faith remain when reason falters. Let trust endure when sight is blind. Let my heart rest knowing that even in silence, heaven is already at work. Saint Michael, visit also the bonds that unite me to others. If this grace involves relationships, difficult people, conflicts within the family, enter these realities with your shield of light. Let the truth of God shine upon everything. Let all that is false fall. Let every manipulation be revealed. Let what is just remain standing. For many times, what we ask for depends on a miracle in someone's heart, a gesture of humility, a decision to change, a willingness to forgive. And in such moments, Saint Michael, only you can act, for there are barriers that no human words can break. But your sword, your light, your fidelity can transform even the hardest of hearts. If the grace I ask is for someone dear to me, a sick child, a lost husband, a weary mother, take this name before God as a precious offering upon the altar. Present this wounded soul as you would a fragile flower in need of water. You know how deeply we suffer for those we love, and that is why you understand this request. But if this grace is for me, Saint Michael, if it is for the healing of my soul, my life, my hidden wounds, then help me to allow it, because many times, even while asking for help, we are afraid to change. We fear what will happen when God begins to act. We fear to release what binds us. Give me courage to welcome the grace when it arrives. Let me not reject it through insecurity, through pride, or through comfort in my pain. Let me be ready to rise when the answer comes, to move when God commands me to walk, to trust when all demands faith, and to praise when the miracle manifests, even if it is small, even if it is silent, even if no one else perceives it but me. Saint Michael, remain by my side. When my thoughts grow confused, when anguish tightens the heart, when the world presses with fear and demand, be my balance, my strength, my clarity. And even if everything still seems unchanged, even if I have not yet seen what I long for, I choose to continue praying, for prayer is not only asking, it is remaining, it is trusting, it is holding your hand, even without knowing the direction. O Lord, let this faith be enough for today. Let my courage rise with each whispered prayer, and through Saint Michael's intercession, let the change you desire begin within me before it appears around me. Saint Michael the Archangel, as I continue to pray with you, I begin to understand that this journey is not only about receiving a grace, but also about an interior transformation. This urgent grace that I carry within my heart has led me into prayer, into silence, and into a renewed trust in God. And even without immediate answers, I begin to feel that something is already being touched. My way of waiting, my way of believing, my way of surrendering to divine will. Teach me, Saint Michael, to live this time as a time of preparation. Let this waiting not be empty, but filled with meaning. While heaven arranges its paths, let me learn to care for my heart, for my actions, and for my faith. Let this prayer not isolate me, but unite me more deeply to God. You who know human frailty and the traps of the evil one, protect me from myself, from impatience, from inner demands, from the voices that try to convince me that nothing will ever change. Let your sword silence every whisper that distances me from trust in God. Let your shield defend me from the snares that want to make me quit. Saint Michael, if this grace I seek involves justice, let all that is hidden be revealed. Let every leaf fall, and everything stolen be restored. Let every false accusation and injustice come to an end. Touch the hardened hearts that block this grace from being fulfilled. And if this grace is for the healing of a body, a mind, or a soul, I implore you to intercede tenderly for that life. Let suffering be soothed. Let the test results bring good news. Let rest return to the weary face. Let serenity replace anguish, for there are pains unseen that cry within us each day. You, Saint Michael, hear these silent cries. Touch also the places I walk through, my home, my work, the environments where my life unfolds. If envy, harsh words, or dark influences stand against the flow of grace, let all be dissolved, undone, and nullified by the light that surrounds you. Place your guardian angels around the decisions that must be made. Let me not rush in despair or fear. Let your presence give me peace in the right choice, even when it requires renunciation. For what comes from God always brings peace, even when it costs, even when it delays, even when it challenges, and when the enemy seeks to use my weakness to confuse me. Close that door with your authority. Let no shadow surround me. Let no thought contrary to God's will dwell in me. Keep me steadfast, even in tears. For victory is not in my hands, but in the care of the Lord. And when this grace finally arrives, Saint Michael, when I can breathe and say, I have been heard, do not allow me to forget the path that led me here. The prayer, the trust, your constant presence. Let me give thanks with humility, acknowledging that all came from God, and that you were His faithful instrument. Write with faith. Saint Michael, I am in need of an urgent grace. Saint Michael, the Archangel, I now understand that the time of waiting is also a time of purification. This urgent grace that has not yet arrived is teaching me how to truly trust, and it is not easy. It is difficult to keep the heart firm when everything appears the same, when silence seems endless, when days pass and the answer still hides. Yet within this desert, I see your presence more clearly. You, Saint Michael, are strength in invisible battles. Help me to protect everything good in my life, for while I wait for one grace, I see that many others have already been given. The health that remains, the daily bread, the affection of loved ones, and the faith that endures under pressure. Do not let me grow blind to the blessings already around me. Protect me against discouragement, against comparison with others, against the feeling of abandonment. You know the fragility of the human soul, how easily it is moved by pain, but your presence gives strength. Your light renews the weary heart. Guard also, Saint Michael, the fruits of my prayer. Do not allow this supplication, offered with sincerity, to return empty. Let it bring transformation, even if invisible, that touches not only my life, but also those around me. For the good we ask for is never only for ourselves. It spreads, it multiplies, it becomes blessing for many. If this grace demands courage, let me receive it with generosity. If it changes my path, let me welcome the change. If it comes greater than I imagined, grant me the maturity to live it wisely. Often we ask for miracles, and are not ready when they come. Prepare me, Saint Michael, for what heaven wishes to give. Intercede also for all who are part of this grace, family members, distant hearts, those who must forgive, those who must return to God. Touch every soul involved. Bring light where there is darkness, peace where there is pride, and freedom where fear still binds. And if someday I forget this prayer, if the rush of life draws me away from faith, remind me of today. Remind me of this peace I now feel. Remind me that once, even without seeing, I believed, and that faith was enough to continue. Saint Michael, if the grace comes today, I will be grateful forever. If it takes longer, I will keep trusting. If it arrives in another way, I will know it is the best way. And if, for reasons only God knows, it does not come as I wish, give me maturity to understand that He never makes mistakes. Hold my soul firm so it does not lose peace. Lead me along the road of acceptance and light. For God owes us nothing. Everything He gives is pure love. That love sustains me now. Before ending this prayer, I place once more in your hands the people I love, the paths I walk, and all that I am. Protect my life and my home. Guide my choices. Strengthen my faith. Present this supplication before the throne of the Almighty. Even if the grace has not yet appeared, I believe it is already on its way. Though this prayer reaches its close, I know that for you, Saint Michael, there is no end. When it comes to caring for the children of God, everything spoken, everything offered, everything cried in silence, is now in your faithful hands. I believe my miracle will come, not because I deserve it, but because God is good. Your sword defends me. Your light guides me. Your mission is to protect those who take refuge under your wings. Stay with me, Saint Michael. Protect my thoughts from despair, my heart from bitterness, my words from complaint, and my steps from losing the way. Keep me walking in the path of God's will. The grace I ask for is being prepared, with care beyond what I can imagine. And perhaps when it arrives, I will see that the waiting was also a time of healing. For with heaven, nothing is in vain. I close this prayer in gratitude, before the miracle, before the answer, because what matters most is knowing that God is with me, and that you, Saint Michael, stand by my side. Place your hands upon me, cover me with your light, seal this prayer with peace, for heaven is already moving. Amen. Share this prayer with faith, and may Saint Michael protect you today and always.